prequels, Anand Neelakantan. Ladies and gentlemen, at HROne PROPEL Delhi chapter, Anand takes the stage for signature talk. Dharma is the stage of algorithms, human choices in a digital world. Because if AI is about to speed, scale, and pattern, Dharma is about choices, trade offs, and meanings. And who better than Anand, a modern myth maker, to help us frame this tension? Where do we trust in the algorithm? Where must we choose as humans? Get ready for a reminder that while machines calculate, it is humans who must choose. And that choice is what makes HR matter more than ever. So, ladies and gentlemen, I request you all to please stand at your places. Everyone, can you please stand up? All right. With a louder round of applause, please join me in welcoming none other than Anand Neelakantan, everyone!
Thank you, everyone. I'm audible without the mic also, I think. I'm an Asura. Is it all right now? Yes. Thank you. I actually escaped from the corporate. I don't know why I'm back. I escaped from a dress like this. I was fed up of dressing. I was a few words about me. Something what Tanya told beautifully, but I want to say more. Because if I don't say what people will do, then I'm still alive. That's something which I'll be talking about now. Why we should protect ourselves. So a few words about me before I go into the content. I started my career in sales. I ended up as a corporate communication manager. By that time I was half dead. And I left the corporate for writing. But I was with the Dharam corporation for almost 20 years, 21 years. As I resigned as chief corporate communication manager. I had done my engineering, I had done a lot of other things which is of no use to me. I did my MBA from Indian Institute of Petroleum, Dharam. But I wrote my first book to escape the corporate world. I wrote my first book, and that was Asura, Tale of the Vanquished, Ravana's story. Ramayana seen from Ravana's side. I followed it up with Ajaya, that is Duryodhana's Mahabharata. The entire thing seen from Duryodhana's side. Then Vanara, that is Bani as a hero. Then Rajamoni called me while he was doing the Bahubali film. So I created the story world of Bahubali. I wrote the entire prequel of Bahubali, which came as 3 books. Then I wrote the other books like many Ramayanas, many lessons, compiling around 300 Ramayanas, various folk versions. Then I did a lot of television series like Siyakera, Chakravarti Ashoka, Srimad Ramayan, Sankatas, Mahabali Hariman, Taj in Z5, which is Nasruddin Shah and others had acted. Then some shows in Netflix and Doordarshan. So I've been a professional writer for the last 10-20 years. I occasionally give speeches. I write columns in Outlook Traveler. I write columns in Indian Express, regular columns. So that is a brief about me. Now coming to the topic. AI is scaring us, right? Everyone is scared of AI. It can write, it can sing, it can make songs, very similar things it can do. But actually, this is not a new dilemma which we are facing. We have always been facing. Always there have been rule books. So I'll start with a story. I have not brought any presentation or anything because usually when somebody used to present, I used to sleep. I was always a backbencher. So I have not brought any presentation. I'm a storyteller. I'm going to tell certain stories. This is one of the age-old HR stories of the world. Okay. So there is, since I write in mythology, my stories will be based on Hindu Puranas, a bit from other Puranas also. I want the session to be interactive, so you can stop me, don't heckle me, you can stop me and ask questions sometime, and I will give a more time for question answer session. I think only 45 minutes they are given me, so I will try to be as concise as possible. So story goes like this. Vishnu, Lord Vishnu was going for an afternoon nap. So he called his doorkeepers and gave the HR manual. Don't let anyone inside. So what is the company policy? Don't let anyone inside when he is sleeping. So these two doorkeepers are there, Jaya and Vijaya. They are born to win. So their name is Jaya and Vijaya. They are standing, these two people are standing, they have been given the instruction. And here comes the Sanaka Kumaras, a group of rishis who are very small. The Puranas say they were like 1 finger high. They come and they want to meet Vishnu. So the Jaya and Vijaya ask, do you have an appointment? They say, we don't need an appointment. We are rishis. We can meet Vishnu whenever we want. So Jaya and Vijaya says, no, that is not our company policy. Our instruction is very clear. HR manual is very clear. The boss has told, no appointments now. So the sages argue, but these people are very adamant. Finally, the sages curls them and do. Now, these people are not worried. When Vishnu wakes up, they rush to Vishnu and say, we have a problem. Then Vishnu says, are you idiots? You should know the policy is only a policy. We should know how to interpret it. Right? When such important people come, you should have allowed to get in. There is always a variation in policy. But these people say, but that is not what you said, sir. You told us the manual says that nobody should be allowed inside. Vishnu says, now you have been cursed. Now there is consequences for any action. So you have a choice. Either you can take 100 birds. In some Puranas it comes as 7. 7 birds as the Bhakt of Vishnu, the devotee of Vishnu, or 3 Janmas, 3 lives as the enemy of Vishnu. So unlike people of today, Jaya and Vijaya were intelligent. They didn't want to be a blind Bhakt, Ant Bhakt of even Vishnu. They said, we will become the enemies of you. And they said, but it is not fair. You should have defined it properly. You should have told there are some exceptions. At least you should have trained us. You are not getting punished. We are getting punished for that. Vishnu is a fair boss. Vishnu says, I also will have to pay for my karma. I didn't define it properly. So I will also take birth. Every time I will also have to come to earth, fight you, defeat you, suffer with you, and come back. All because of one HR policy. See? So Hiranyaksha and Jaya and Vijaya gets born as Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu. And next birth they become Ravana and Kumbhakarna. Vijaya had it cool. He was Kumbhakarna, he could sleep for 6 months and eat, drink and enjoy. All the work was left to Ravan. Vishnu had to come as once as Varaha, once as Narasimha, once as Rama, and the next birth as Kamsa and Dandavatra. Every time Vishnu also, the boss also had to come and fight with, in Ramavatar he fights with Ravan and Kumbhakarna defeats it. But look at the suffering which even Rama had to undergo through the entire life. Just because the policy was properly not interpreted and the policy was, they didn't use the human intelligence. They didn't use, there is something very important, more than information. It is wisdom that matters. More than intelligence, it's the wisdom that matters. What Jaya and Vijaya didn't have was the wisdom. What AI will have is information and intelligence. It will never have the wisdom. Where the wisdom is required, that is where the HR professions are important. So, rules, any idiot can write rules. A lot of idiots have written rules. It's the easiest thing to write rules. No? If you are just writing rules, a computer, a dumb computer, an artificial, whatever it is, you call it intelligence, it can also write a set of rules. It is just a tool. There is nothing to be scared of. I wanted to imagine a situation where the fire has been discovered. You are all cavemen and cavewomen, and fire has been discovered by some Gen Z or whatever generation. How all the WhatsApp uncles and aunties will be reacting to the fire? Just imagine. They will say, they destroyed, they have discovered something very destructive. In the other forest, the entire forest burned down because of this new invention, the fire. Youngsters are wasting time. Instead of sleeping, they are partying around the fire and wasting time telling stories. Every time a technology has come, humans have always feared the technology. But technology has always allowed us to leap over. Then the question comes, what will decide, how will you decide if we agree that humans are more into human intelligence and wisdom is most important? How will we decide what is good or bad? I will again go to some stories in Puranas. So, in Indian Puranas, there is never anything called commandments. There is nothing like God came and told you have to obey so and so rules, otherwise you will go to hell. It was always a debate on dharma. So there is this famous story Swami Chinmayananda used to tell. I am just repeating the story. The God is full of sense of humor. So the God, it's a story. So even if you don't believe in God, you can hear the story. Doesn't matter. So the God called one group of people and said that don't drink wine, don't eat swine, and you can marry 4 people. They said, okay, fine. Then the God called their neighbors and said that you can only marry 1 person, drink wine, eat swine. Contrasting commandments. You know what Chinmayananda was telling you? The Abrahamic religions work on a set of codes. Then they called the 3rd person, and that 3rd person started asking question, how do I know you are God? Why should I obey you? What is the reason that I should do certain things and I shouldn't do certain things? Even if you are promising me heaven, how will I know if there is a heaven or not? God looked at him and said, you are a bloody Indian, you do whatever you want. So that is how the Indian religions were born. You do whatever you want, there are no set of rules. You can go to temple, you need not go to temple, there are no rules at all. It is based on each, it is called Swadharma in India. There are no set of rules. It is Swadharma. You decide what is right and what is wrong. You interpret the Dharma. So that in Krishna gives an entire HR manual called Gita to Arjuna. It's a proper pep talk. A very wrong time to say people are eager to kill each other. And Krishna is giving an HR lesson for Arjuna. The entire slokas, if you narrate, it goes for the entire day. I don't know what Kauravas were doing, sitting and watching these 2 dudes talking in front of the battlefield. But whatever it is, he was giving. If you go through Gita, you find that he uses every trick in the HR trade, right? He first offers paid vacation, says that if you do this, if you die, you will go to Swarga, you will get eternal fame. He offers incentives. When it doesn't work, he tries to shame him, says that all your honor will go away. Then he goes into more and more complicated things, like he talks about various yogas, how to do this. He gives a manual of how to, including how to meditate. He goes through Raja Yoga, he goes through Bhakti Yoga, he goes through Karma Yoga. Finally, after telling everything, finally what does he say? Yadechasi tadekuru. I have given you the greatest of wisdom. Now whatever you want, you do. That's all we can tell to the Indians. Even in your employees also, you can only tell that. We can give you only a guideline. Ultimately, you will have to do whatever you think, using your wisdom, what you define as dharma, that only you can do. That only you should do. This conflict of dharma, this conflict of what is right and what is wrong, forms the basis of our entire Ramayana and Mahabharata. There is a story of Sibi, the emperor, which is often used to illustrate this point. So Sibi was conducting a havan, a sacrifice, a yajna, and the gods decide to test him. So what happens? One dove comes, one pigeon comes, and falls on Sibi's feet and says, "One hawk is chasing me, and please help me because it's going to eat me." So what is dharma? I want you to answer. Otherwise, people will sleep. Should the king save the pigeon or not?
Yes.
He should save the pigeon. It's a very eternal debate, a 5,000-year-old debate. One group says he should save the pigeon. Now, the hawk comes and says, "This is very unfair. Why are you saving the pigeon? It is my food. If I don't get the pigeon, my kids will starve. I am also a person in you. I am also a creature in your kingdom. What will I do?" Then Sibi says, "I will give you an equivalent meat." And he calls the people and says, "Give a chicken to the hawk." Then chicken says, "What the hell? You are being unfair to me. I have kids. I am a husband. And you are taking me and giving just because you are given to a pigeon. Now tell me whether the king should save the pigeon or not. Should he or should he not? Now we have got two. He should. So now the king is in a dilemma. King says, "I will do one thing. I will cut the flesh of my thigh." Very sacrificial. No, a lot of people are very sacrificial. "I will cut the flesh of my thigh and give it to the hawk." Problem solved? Actually, no. Hawk says, "Thinking, are you doing it fair or not? Because you are the king, you are the greatest warrior, you are the leader of the people. You cut away your muscle, you won't be able to walk, you won't be able to lead the people. A war comes, thousands of your soldiers are going to die. So what you are doing is not right, it is not dharma." Then king is in a dilemma. Then king says, "I resign my kingship. To hell with kingship. Now that question is not dharma, let my son be the king. Still I am going to give the flesh." Then the hawk asks, the hawk is Indra actually in disguise. So hawk asks, "But then again it is unfair. If your son was capable of ruling, then he should have been the ruler. Why were you sitting there until now, until this question was asked? If he was not ready, then why is he ready? Just because you are given a word, you are being unfair to the people." Then next ethical question comes. You don't belong to yourself. Your body belongs to your wife also. She is Ardhangana, she is Dharmapatni, right? It's half. That's a concept in Indian philosophy. He says, "Did you ask your wife before doing it? Will she suffer somebody who cannot walk? She will have to take care of you. You are resigned the kingship. You are her burden." Now he says, "I don't know what to do now." Usually in temples, when they say, they end it with, "I have given the thigh and it's a great sacrifice." But the debate continues actually. Then the greatest lesson they say, the dharma cannot be defined. In Mahabharata also, whatever you do, there will be a consequence for that action. Even if you think this is dharma and I have done it, there will be consequences for that. So in Ramayana, why did Valmiki write? How did Rama kill Bali? Bali or Vali, whichever way you pronounce. How did he kill him? He hid behind a tree and shot him. Is it dharma? Is it right to kill a warrior hiding behind a tree? Lord Ram did it. Bhagavan Ram did it. Is it right or wrong? Why these epics are written with all these ethical questions is to make us ponder about dharma. If it was an instruction sheet, without the need of interpretation, they would have just, Valmiki ji could have easily written that Rama went, gave 2 slaps to Bali and Bali died. Was his wish to, right? Why there is a reason why a great poet, philosopher, and sage like Valmiki ji had written it like that. It is again to pause for all the readers and listeners to think about Dharma. Because the conversation of Bali and Ram after Bali has fallen is one of the greatest chapters of Ramayana, where the ethics of what is right, every HR manager should read it. Because day in and day out, you will be facing this kind of issues. Day in and day out. If it is to choose between right and wrong, any idiot can choose it, right? Any artificial intelligence can choose it. Now Rama has to make a choice that I am going to do something wrong and I will face the consequences of it. Yet for the greater good of the things, I will take that on me and shoot him from behind the tree. So whatever justification Rama gives to Bali in Ramayana isn't convincing. Where it becomes convincing is that in Mahabharata, the same Bali comes as Jara and shoots Krishna, completing the cycle of the consequences of it. Ram threatens the ocean, the Varuna, that he will boil it. When does he do it? When the Vanaras are throwing stones to try to make the Ram Setu, the stones are sinking. So the famous painting of Raja Ravivarma where Ram stands, the angry Ram stands facing the boiling ocean. It is taken from that. Ram threatens Varuna, saying that you are not allowing us to cross, and I am going to burn you down. Varuna argues back, saying it is my dharma as the ocean, god of ocean, that if something like a stone is put, it has to sink. That is the law of the nature. Why are you asking me to do something against the law of the nature? Not just that, when Ravana conquered Varuna, Varuna had given a word that he will protect Lanka. So you are asking, forcing me to do something against my nature and my word. You are doing adharma. But Ram says, for the greater good, I have to defeat Ravan. You will have to allow me this time. And Varuna says there will be a consequence. What is the consequence? In Mahabharata, the same ocean comes and sinks the entire Dwaraka. So these tales talk about that every decision there is nothing called absolute. Now look at the case of Hanuman. Before I open up the session, look at the case of Hanuman. If Hanuman was employed in a modern corporate, he is cooked. He has been, what was his KRA? His KRA was to go to Lanka, meet Sita, give the Chudamani, give the message saying that Ram is coming. That much only he had to do. Right? First, he didn't know where to go. He didn't know who he was. So they called the Jambavan and other monkeys like a true-bred HR professionals and trainers motivated him. You are great, you are big, you are Hanuman, you can do all these things. They motivated him. Their motivation was so good that Hanuman forgot what was his task. Now imagine the situation. Hanuman went there. He became small, he flew, he went there, when he met Sita, his task is over. Then he thought, I will do something extra. Bonus. I will impress my HR manager. So he started destroying the Lanka, the Ashoka Vatika, and then he kills one of Ravan's son, Akshay Kumara. None of this were either asked by Ram or Jambavan or Sugriva or anyone. It's all by Hanuman himself on his own initiative. To ask employees to have their own initiative, right? This is what happens. So he went and destroyed the brand name of Rama. Went and then he was caught by Indrajit using Brahmastra. Hanuman was dragged inside, and now there starts the HR problem in Lanka. What to do with this monkey? So one guy, one HR manager, Vibhishan takes a HR manager and says, as per the manual, he is a Duda, he is a messenger, you should not harm him. In any company it happens. Think from Asura's side. This guy has come and killed the CEO's son and destroyed every place, and you are saying you are sitting with the HR book. What to do with it? And and the other side is arguing, no, he did so much destruction. So what happens, like any corporate, any failing corporate, they go for a compromise. Either they should have listened to Vibhishan and sent him, or they should have listened to Indrajit and imprisoned him or killed him. Hanuman cannot be killed, you will say, but lot of Chiranjeevis Ravana has dealt before. Ravana has conquered Yama. Ravana has dragged all the 9 planets who are all Chiranjeevis. Ravana had defeated and dragged Indra. So he could have perhaps put, at least attempted to put Hanuman in jail and not leave him at all. And Ram would have never known that what happened to Hanuman. He would have thought Hanuman went there and mission impossible finished there. Right? They went for a compromise. Let us burn the tail of this monkey. So neither they are killing, neither they are following the manual, nor they are following their heart. It's a half-hearted attempt. And you know the result of it. The entire company burned down. Entire Lanka burned down. Hanuman burns the entire Lanka. And Hanuman jumps back and his tail is on fire. Somebody has kidnapped someone else's wife and Hanuman's tail is on fire. Very enthusiastic employee. And he jumps back and then he has this dilemma. I had burned Lanka. What if Sita had died in that? I am not making this up. It's in Ramayana. He is thinking then only, what would have happened? I did this extra. What if Ma Sita had died in that? He goes there and finds that she is safe. He takes a blessing. Still his tail is on fire. He jumps back. And as soon as he comes, all the monkeys are happy. What do? Many people would not, many TV shows, even the shows I wrote, I have not shown this. I have written 3-4 Ramayana in television. Like Srimad Ramayana, Siyate Ram, Sankat Mohan, Mahaviri. We couldn't show it in the TV. But if you go and research your Ramayana, you will find that when they come back, there is this garden of Sugriva called Madhuvana. All the monkeys enter and they start destroying and eating all the bananas and mangoes from the royal garden. And there is a gatekeeper who is the uncle of Sugriva. He tries to stop them and all the monkeys like Angad and all, they slap him and tie him up because they are celebrating party. It's a drunken party. It's not drunken, but the monkeys are happy. It's a party which is happening. And then when Sugriva knows, here they take a right decision. They understand that if monkeys are showing so many, Vanaras are showing so much happiness, then Hanuman would have seen Sita. And Hanuman sees Ram, and Ram, he doesn't go by the rule book. He doesn't say, I didn't ask you to go and burn Lanka. I didn't ask you to do all these things. He embraces, he hugs Hanuman, and from there the Ramayana starts. Now imagine if it was this Hanuman is putting the travel expenses TADA to the modern HR. What will be a typical AI-driven response? First, he was supposed to swim. He flew. Not eligible in this grade. Cut. He had destroyed the brand name. Issue a shock cost notice. After coming back, he destroyed the company's own property in the indiscipline in behavior. Hanuman would have ended up in suspension and they would have lost the war also. The next war. So, even in Ramayana, there were strict rules where Vibhishan was talking about rule, but Ram knows when the rules should be broken and when the rules, he is called Maryada Purushottam. But even Ram interprets the rules in such a way that it benefits everyone. It's a wisdom. The same thing you will see in Mahabharata war. Who fought as per the rules? The Mahabharata war, there was a side which didn't break a single rule. Which side was that? Duryodhana's side. They didn't break rules. Most of the rules they didn't break. They started breaking as the war progressed. But when Bhishma was there, when Drona was there, they were not breaking any rules. All rules were broken by Krishna. He advised everything. He breaks every rule in the game. And he places the correct person at the correct time. He doesn't try to, even though he motivates Arjuna, he doesn't make Arjuna do all the job. He places Shigandi at the forefront at the right time. The only job of Shigandi, who is Amba reborn, is to ensure that Bhishma doesn't fight. He uses even the honesty of Yudhishthira. Yudhishthira's entire life was made for what? Tell that one lie that would take down Drona. He even creates a separate, a false solar eclipse using his Sudarshana Chakra. He breaks all the rules. Imagine he was operating like a data-driven machine. Like how an AI would work. Because AI is what? You give a set of commands, it does the job fast. It is like saying a monkey is trained to type, it will come up with next Mahabharata. It won't. It will come up with gibberish on. It's all bullshit in, it's bullshit out. It depends on what you give. So it is just a tool, and it is on why we should draw inspiration from the Puranas is because it constantly deals with the question of dharma, the question of ethics, and there is one key, before I conclude it and open it for the question, 15 minutes per question is there, one key which was emphasized all throughout in the Indian tradition, whether it is Hinduism, Jainism or Buddhism or any darshanas, is that the keystone of dharma is karuna. Empathy is what ultimately you have to, even there will be problem, even if you show empathy and false empathy, but empathy is something which should be the basics of taking any decision. An AA can tell how many sick leave an employee took. Only a manager, HR manager with empathy will understand why he took that sick leave, whether it was just to laze around and watch Netflix or whether he genuinely has a problem. And forget the fairness. There is nothing fair in the world. Always, many corporates give, even when I was working, they always talked about fairness. No. Always, as we explained about the pigeon and the hawk, if you are trying to be fair, it will become unfair to everyone. It is always discriminatory. Any policy will be discriminatory to someone or other. There is nothing wrong in it. We will be always talking about the greater good. Just like Rama decided, Lord Ram decided that killing Bali is an act of adharma, yet I will do it and face the consequences of it. Because for a greater cause, I will have to do it. It keeps on repeating. That's why they have the word of Dharma Sankat. What is Indian storytelling? I have written, I follow only one rule in storytelling, which is what is followed in every story in what Indians have ever told. Get a character, define what he thinks as Dharma, give a Dharma Sankat. This is what, no, every time Yudhishthira defines himself that I will never tell a lie. His code is there, his HR manual is there for himself. I will not tell a lie. If somebody calls me to gamble, I will follow the dharma of the king and I will go and gamble and lose everything and lose my wife, lose my brothers, lose my kingdom. This is where it churns. It keeps on churning on that. Duryodhana says, I will take Karna and whatever it is, I will believe in Karna. Karna is a great hero for many. But if you really think it is a wrong recruitment, at the crucial time, If Duryodhana is a company, is a HR head and he had recruited somebody like Karna, looking at his great resume, Karna, wow, somebody who has studied under Parshuram, who can match Arjun, everything, A will tick everything. Finally, what happened? In the war, Karna kind of promises Karna give, he is zero loyalty to Duryodhana, if you really see. He tells to, only he says he will die. What is the use of he dying? He is supposed to win, no, the war. He says, I won't, he will give his Kavach and Kundal also. He says, I will not kill anyone other than Arjun. I will use Nagastra only once. All sort of promises behind the back. Imagine an Indian army general behaving like that in an Indo-China war. Imagine we are given a Tibetan asylum here and he becomes one of India's commanders. And then there is an India-China war happening. And he says that somehow I am related to C or somebody there in China. He is my brother. So I will do all these things. How will we treat him? For Duryodhana, it was a bad recruitment. Just going by the data that this fellow is, he didn't know his ego will stand in the way of it. He lacked the viveka, the wisdom. He just went by the rules. This is what becomes significant in the era of AI. The wisdom never, it has to come through age, it has to come through empathy. Other tools, they will come and go. AI will come, bigger intelligence will come, but let us hope this won't achieve the wisdom. Until then, we are all safe. Well, opening for the question. I will be giving a bit longish answer so that now when I am talking, I am just talking what I want to say. And when you are asking questions, then I will be able to tailor the reply depending on what you want. So I encourage all of you to ask questions. It is free of cost. Please, somebody from the.
Hi, I'm Amit Goel. I'm an entrepreneur and I run a company called Rockspot. Now, I have a free side view here because as a business owner, I can represent HR as the management side of it. The crux of your talk seems to be that we break the rules for greater good. Now, being an HR context here, I want you to put a mythological point of view. What is greater good? When it comes to a decision between what's right for an employee versus stakeholders, so where does an HR balance the greater good? In Hanuman's position, would they see the employee being the right, serving the employee as the greater good or the stakeholder as the greater good?
See, that is the dilemma which always, that is what the Dharma Sankat comes from. That is the dilemma which always is coming. Every time, what is the greater good? So, the only way the person can take a decision, it might not be of liking for an honor or the company or anything. What will allow him to sleep? That is what we call about Swadharma. No, I have to define my dharma. I have to see, I have to take a decision and face the consequences. What will allow him to sleep? Suppose an employee is creating an unethical thing. He is cheating. He's stealing the company. But at the same time, he is doing something great for the company also. Maybe he is taking out some funds, all his expenses he is exaggerating. At the same time, he is bringing great business. There is an element of dishonesty. What decision you will take? These are the things which you usually face in a practical. I also run a business. These are the things we face. Usually, the smartest guy will be also shady in many of the cases. The honest guy will be a pain in the neck. That's what it is to be. Civilization. Many times, not always, many times. This ethical question keeps coming. Should I report to the boss or should I advise the employee? Only thing what I can tell you is Krishna's example, where Krishna gives a few chances to Sisubala before he cuts it off. Transparency that he is eating, the boss should know it, is something which can help. There is a call of the honor of the business or the board to decide how much he can do, how much he can. Certain times within four walls, many businesses won't run, especially in India, without certain things happening. Let us be adults and accept it. There will be an element of some dishonesty here and there, greasing of palms here and there. Whether he is greasing palms of the, say, government officials, whether he is taking cut out of it. This is life. It has to be taken in a way that you are the decision maker. You will have to take a call, whether based on you only have to defend. None of the books are going to defend. Whether you can sleep taking that action. Sometimes, as Mahabharata shows, Krishna does a lot of compromises on what is a rule of dharma to ensure that the company, we have examples of it. Okay? We have examples, I don't want to take the name, some of the greater corporates in the company, in the country have done all those things to grow as big as it is. Doesn't mean they are corrupt or anything, they are working in the system. Others have fallen back. So you will have to decide whether I want to be a very honest small-time player or whether I want to be. So I have an entire book on that called the Asura way. It's one of my non-fiction books where I argue that many of the advices what they give are not right. There is a space for arrogance. There is a space for envy. There is a space for anger, provided you know how to use it as a tool. It's an entire day session actually, but in short, it is for you to decide based on how well you can sleep, taking one action or other. That's why I gave the example of Ram threatening Vanara or Ram killing Bali. That Dharma Sankat will keep on happening. And that's what all these Puranas are keeping on telling. There is no definite answer. Only AA can give you definite answer. Sir.
Thank you so much for this wonderful event. I give a very round of applause if I could. I just holding the mic. My name is Chalaj, and I represent India in the Asian Games in the sports of triathlon, and as well as I am an executive recruiter in a startup company known as Lagrange Point. And I recently started reading about Gita and everything. And so many questions were held in my mind, like why was this happening? Why was this happening? Why they were not stopping it? And now I think I got the answers from you. And this was so amazing. So when you were telling about that, some of the points, I just want to ask, like in the starting, if the HR Propel software was given to the Jaya and Vishnu, would that be a point or would there be a chance that they were not cursed by them or with the policy if they have gone through, or would they have definitely got the curse and all the Ramayana would have happened?
I will say you can't give rules for the world.
Yeah.
Basically, what is this Puranas are teaching? How much ever rules you put, the life is so complicated that there will be situations which will not cater to any of these rules. So you can't outright life, WRIT, not outright, outright life with a set of rules. That's why the Jaya story is told. Even Vishnu cannot predict because things happen in random. Vishnu cannot predict that Sanaka Umanas are going to come and his employees are going to suffer.
Yes.
Life is so complicated that no HR manual is going to capture all rules, and every time, every day, when major decisions are taken, this ethical dilemma, this Dharma Sankat is going to happen. How will you tackle it? and how much ready you are to face the consequence, because there is nothing without consequence. Whichever decision you take, so even a decision of, as I put Ram hiding behind the tree and hitting Bali, even Ram has a consequence. Even as a HR head, Vishnu has a consequence of giving this manual and not able to predict it. He also will have to imagine the life of Ram. Nobody, we can all pray to Bhagavan Ram, but no one should have a life like Ram. I will always take a life of Ravan or a Krishna. Both had a fantastic life, but not Bhagavan Ram. Like, entire life is full of suffering. Why? Because he is paying the karma bhala of what happened to his employees. So there is a reason, at least they try to explain a reason through the stories. And none of the stories are to be taken literally. They are to make you think. That's why they are dharma granth. They are not commandments. They don't give you a clear instruction that this you should do, this you shouldn't do. Nobody can predict that. No, times change. So the dharma changes as per the time, as per the society, as per the culture. So nothing is constant. What is dharma in Dwapar Yuga need not be dharma now. What is dharma, even imagine it, 70 years back or 100 years back, your daughter is 15 years old and she is not married. The entire society will be after your life. Now you try to do something like that, you will be in jail. Entire thing has changed. Keeps on changing. That is what makes life so fascinating. And that's what makes these stories also so fascinating, because you reinterpret it again and again in different ways. That's why there are so many Ramayanas. So one of my books is Many Ramayanas, Many Lessons. It's also a podcast and audible, both English and Hindi. The 16-hour podcast talking about the nuances of Dharma in various Ramayanas. It's also available as a book. So there are Ramayanas where some societies have interpreted as Sita as the daughter of Ravan. The entire story premises change. The moment you do that, what is Dharma, what is Adharma changes. There are around 32 Ramayans like that. There are Ramayans where Hanuman has multiple wives. It will be shocking for us. When we hear it first time, it shocked me. In Thai Ramayan, maybe it's a problem of Thailand. Thai Ramayan, Hanuman has multiple wives, whereas he is an Aishtika Brahmachari for us. So many interpretations. Why? Because every culture, you need a different interpretation. Every time, you need a different interpretation. It's a big topic. I try to answer as concise as possible. I think time is up.
Sir, I have only one question, last question.
With the permission of organizers, I can take how many hour question. If they allow me, I can stand here for next 4 hours also.
Okay, last question, very quick, sir. It will not take only 30 to 60 seconds, not more.
Where are you? I am not able to. Which side you have?
I am here, sir.
Yes, sir.
Sir, I am Ajay. I am heading the amazing group of company Gurgaon. The way you were narrating all of the example, for a moment I lost. So I wanna ask, like you have written so many of the serials, Ram, Veer Hanuman, Sankat Mochan, and during your conversation or this narrating this thing, you said that once the Ravana back after firing the Lanka of the Ravana, and the moment he get down and Rama said, and there was a discussion or the conversation happened between the Lord Rama and Hanumana, and intentionally you have not shown it in any of the this serials, which I have also noticed since my childhood. Okay, once Hanumana is back, simply Rama hug it, what happens, how is my Sita. So out of curiosity, I thought, okay, I should ask you, because you have read so much of scriptures, and thereafter you have written so many of the serials and broadcasted it. So in case if you can please help me out, what exactly happened and why it is not shown in the many of the serials.
Why? What was not shown, sir? I didn't get the last part.
The discussion between Hanumana and the Rama once he came back after burning the Lanka of Ravana.
See, there what they do is they go with the emotion of the character when you write the story. So in many, even Kambarama, when it comes, even the wording is put in a way such that Hanuman first says, I saw, contains the I saw is the first word it comes. Then he says Sita, because Ram is anxious, and then they go with the emotion of how is Sita, how I looked at it, they go into that, and the ethics of Hanuman burning Lanka is purposefully not put in most of the Ramayans. It is something which is left for us to interpret it. So what happens is, this Lanka burning, and again in Mahabharata answer comes. Ram's messenger goes and destroys Lanka. Krishna's entire Dwaraka gets destroyed as a karma. His own people fight with each other. There are 2-3 reasons for that. One is because Krishna was the reason, one of the reasons for the fight between the cousins, Pandavas and Kauravas. So all these Gandhari's curse also is there. So all these are working together to give the consequences of Ram's and Hanuman's action to work in Krishna's life. So you cannot read Ramayana without reading Mahabharata, because one completes the other. Because many of the Karmavelas come in Mahabharata and Bhagavata. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir, for this powerful and very entertaining session. And I can see everyone has enjoyed it a lot. Can you have a louder one for him? Everybody, come on. So, sir has reminded us that even in an algorithm-driven world, stories remain our oldest technology of growth. So, as we pause for a moment to take let me take a second to